Welcome to another episode of B-Movie Enema the series. I'm B-Movie proctologist Jeff Arbuckle, and with me as always is my partner in crime, Nurse Disembody. Now the two of us sit here at the exit of the great B-Movie poop chute that delivers us the movies each week that we need to cleanse from the crevices like so much corn.
And speaking of the B-Movie poop chute and corn, the movie we're watching this week is King Frat. This National Lampoon's Animal House ripoff is a gross-out, lowbrow comedy about a member of a fraternity competing in a fart contest.
Yeah, so, this side of the office is a giant fan of fart humor. I mean, how can Poop Shoot not be a fan of fart humor? That's like saying a German being a fan of German language films. But for me, I'm not sure I really ever talked about it in this great of detail before.
I'm not sure you need to at all.
Fair enough. But that said, I know with my professional looking poster of the digestive system, my doctor tools back here, my clearly professional scrubs and doctor coat, and my totally real diploma all make me look like some sort of aficionado of higher brow films. I'm some sort of film scholar or something. Meanwhile, all these things are obviously true about me. I cannot help but to laugh almost uncontrollably at the concept of farts. Maybe it's the sound of ripping ass that triggers something in my mind and makes my brain do a complete intelligence shutdown and causes my face and diaphragm to do a laugh. Sure, I know this is pretty lowbrow stuff. I know that fart humor or toilet humor in general is the lowest common denominator when it comes to, well...
comedy?
Yeah, I would say it's the lowest common denominator in life itself. It's not something that you would find in a Woody Allen comedy or in a movie made by Fellini, but guess what, everybody? This is me. I am the lowest common denominator. Fart humor makes me laugh and I don't care who knows it. And I think what makes it so funny is that it is something that almost everyone does. I mean, almost everyone tries not to do it in public, and it smells bad. It's the fact that it comes out of someone's butthole, which... maybe even more so than a woman's boobs and vagina and a guy's ding-dong, it's about the most private of privates on people. The act of farting is part of the shitatic equation. That's the mathematical equation that proves that the act of the shit someone is taking is equal to the sum of the sound of the fart, the smell of the fart, and the size of someone's asshole.
You won the Nobel Poop Prize for proving the equation, did you not?
Oh shit, yeah I did. But as I said, part of it is the sound. Since farts come in so many different tones, lengths, flappiness, rippling effects, and so forth, you're literally doing the Forrest Gump box of chocolates thing that with your butt. I mean, you're never quite sure what you're going to get, despite your best efforts to direct the sound with part of your brain that controls the aperture that is your butthole. And then, what if it happens unexpectedly? Oh, even better. But what's better than that? When it happens in a place you really can't have it happen. For example, you're at your new girlfriend's parents' house and you're just this slimeball jerk-off from the wrong side of town. Maybe you aren't so bad. You've got a heart of gold. You've wooed the upper-class pretty girl from the good part of town. She loves you for who you are and you love yourself for who you are because of this lovely new relationship you found. But then, you go to the home of her parents. This humble suburban 4-bedroom house is practically a palace compared to your studio apartment on Murder Row. You're having something that you've never eaten before in your life, and it has a healthy amount of onion and or garlic in it, and suddenly your real side starts to slip through your backside. You're cutting sonic booms right there at the dinner table with your new girlfriend's classy parents. While it isn't what you hope for a guy just struggling to impress his girlfriend's parents, it's a hell of a funny story. And what would be even funnier is if the uppity mom starts ripping shit dust and trying to pass it off as the nicely appointed wooden dinner table chair squeaking or something. So, no shit, this is something that can set up some pretty hilarious life scenarios. However, just the word fart can be funny. It's one of those beautiful words in the English language.
Were you gonna add anything to that statement?
Not really. It really is just one of the most beautiful words in the language.
Oh, okay. It just seemed like you had something else to add to explain that.
Explain myself? Sure. It's a word that is used both as a noun. He released a fart that peeled the wallpaper in Grandma's sitting room, as well as a verb. The guy just farts around the house with hardly a care in the world. It's also a transitive verb. Jeff farted the alphabet with perfect enunciation. I think it may even be an adverb. I'm quite sure this food tastes fartly.
I'm not so sure about that last one.
Well, I'm working toward that second Nobel Poop Prize to prove that one. But anyway, pronouncing the word can also be an adventure. You have the short AR sound as if you are letting the word cut the air, just like the thing itself did. Did you just fart? You can also stretch out the AR sound to give it a more airy sound, much like the thing itself. Oh God, I got a fart.
I've never seen you so lit up and excited about anything before.
I know, I love farts. What can I say? Anyway, King Frat, which I am positive was meant to be called King Fart, but it wouldn't pass the censorship boards, is about a fart contest, or at least for a part of it. That said, this is, by all accounts, not really a great movie. This is very clearly a movie that steals a lot of ideas and jokes and repurposed them for this movie. And we're going to get into all of that influence of National Lampoon's Animal House in the second segment, but for now, let's jump into the toilet with King Frat, and we'll see you back here in a bit.
Hey, Jeff?
What?
I have something to say.
Go for it.
Jeff, I don't feel so good.
You know, that would be fair to say. I mean, King Frat has a veneer of gross just painted all over the surface, doesn't it? But let's back up a little bit. As you can see on the poster, it says Mad Makers. And I think this was there to kind of evoke National Lampoons at the start of the title for Animal House. As far as I can tell, Mad Maker is nothing. It's a production company that might have been created to produce the film. The poster then insists to put itself in your fucking face by having a poll quote from the Daily Croc. Now that's the college paper in the movie. It's telling you straight up that this movie is so raunchy you can taste it. Now, how do you like that? A movie telling you how much of something it is. It's like saying, I'm the life of the party, everybody loves me. Then you go to the party, get drunk, tear off someone's dress by being a buffoon, and then shitting in the punch bowl only to defend your actions the following day by saying that you were indeed the life of the party. But we've got star John DeSanti taking a shit in the nastiest bathroom stall you've ever seen. Seriously, this whole picture looks like it was dipped in the single porta-john at a Mexican food festival. And look at DeSanti here, just smiling like a goon and giving you the finger as if to say, yeah, I made a movie, fuck you, loser. You can hear this poster farting, and that fart echoing off the porcelain bowl. And don't worry, I'll circle back around to DeSanti in a little bit. Now there's a pennant hanging over the toilet that reads the name of the school, Yellowstream. Oh good, don't want this to be all about the poop jokes.
I think I hate everything about this.
And you should. Now we can see that it appears that the real title of this movie is King fucking Frat, as shown here on the poster and the title card for the movie itself.
At least it's banned by the Board of Health.
Yeah, I guess that should count for something. Anyway, the movie opens with our frat dudes from Pi Kappa Delta. These guys are just the shittiest of turds. They drive around in a hearse and moon everyone as they pass by. They roll up on the Yellowstream University president and moon him while he's jogging, which kills him dead. The dean, who comes up with the new plan to deal with the frat, decides to let Pi Kappa Delta run wild, and I guess the problem will eventually solve itself. Somehow. Say, nurse, does this frat have a Native American member?
Yup.
And is he a cartoonish caricature?
Yup.
His name is Chief Latrine, and obviously played by a guy who is not a Native American. He's a true-life Kissawong Indian. Get it, nurse? Kissawong, like kiss a...
I get it. Yeah, I get it.
So this is your classic struggle between the rich and the normal slobs. While Animal House and even Caddyshack did a good job at showing the struggle in a truly funny way, King Frat seems to make it so that I don't actually like anyone. In fact, I'm kind of leaning on the side of the shithead frats to get rid of the pie caps. But anyway, Animal House, for a time, was the highest grossing comedy in film history. Of course, that would create clones and knockoffs. King Frat waited no time to cash in on it. It's clear that our DeSanti dude is our Jim Belushi analog. He's chubby, slobby, gassy, it fits. His name is J.J. Grossout Gombrowski. Now, DeSanti at the time of appearing in this movie was 41 years old, so he was like 20 years older than his character. And that's truly amazing. I think it should have been said that he had been in college for so many years no one knows how long he's been there, but that would be a good joke. But does this movie go for the good jokes? No, it doesn't. DeSanti had several dozen acting credits. He did a lot of work on popular TV shows, but also had a few solid movie roles too. He was probably best known for Batteries Not Included, but he also appeared in The Presidio alongside Sean Connery, Mark Harmon, Jack Warden, and Meg Ryan. And while the jokes in this aren't all that clever or funny, except for one so far that I'll get to momentarily, I can't say DeSanti isn't able to pull off a big old goofball loser like Grossout. He's not totally unlikable as an actor. He's just has to do unlikable things thanks to an unlikable script. Now, this movie was written by Ron Kurz. Kurz did uncredited writing for the first Friday the 13th. And he went on to write the script for Friday the 13th Part 2 and got characters by credit for Parts 3 and 4, as well as some fan-created shorts. He didn't write much more, though. For this movie, he took the credit Mark Jackson. He did the same thing for the cult classic horror film Eyes of a Stranger. The only other movie that he has a writing credit for that I haven't mentioned yet is a movie called Off the Wall. It was another comedy, but one of the people in it was none other than last week's movie star, Jenny Newman.
You said there was one good joke in this movie?
I did. The pie caps need to raise money for Grossout to get the entry fee for the fart contest coming up. And they have a rich new pledge coming, but in the meantime, they decide to steal the body of the former president of the university. The guy they killed. And to do this, they stink bomb the funeral. But not in the way that you would expect. They use a bowl of shit, heat it up, and waft it into the vents. That alone is a funny joke, but...
Lowest common denominator?
That, and where the joke goes makes no real sense. It causes the attendees to break out into basically uncontrollable laughter, which enrages the dean, who goes apeshit and allows the guys to come in and take the body away. So why are people laughing at the smell of hot shit in the bowl? Why aren't they fleeing from the bad smell? Did they think that the dean shit himself or farted? I don't know. The hot shit plan was pretty funny. The reaction to it is all wrong.
I feel like you could write the ultimate fart gross out comedy.
Holy fartin' Jesus, I could, without a doubt. So let's get back to the movie, and when we come back, we'll talk about this movie's director.
The pie cap house is so gross. It makes me want to take a shower.
Me too, but I don't think we should shower at the pie cap house.
No way.
This film is directed by Ken Wiederhorn. Now, Wiederhorn was just coming off his first feature film, which was the cult classic horror film Shockwaves, about Nazi zombies starring Peter Cushing, John Carradine, and Brooke Adams. And he was off to a great start with his directing career. However, he kind of hit a speed bump with this movie before going on to do Eyes of a Stranger, Meatballs Part 2, and Return of the Living Dead 2. He then made Dark Tower with Michael Moriarty and Jenny Agutter. To close out the 80s, he worked on a handful of episodes for Freddy's Nightmares. Wiederhorn said in an interview that he was working as an editor at CBS in the news and documentary unit, and he always wanted to be a documentary producer. When he could take a break, he ended up taking on a director gig through a fellow Columbia School of the Arts student. The only requirement given to the pair was that whatever they made had to be a horror movie, and that's when Shockwaves was made. When he went back to CBS after finishing the movie, his co-workers kind of looked down on him for making a horror movie. But back then, if you wanted to be a documentary producer for CBS, you had to have a journalism degree. and that's something that he didn't have. So he had to make a movie to gain the experience in a different way. Now, he eventually left CBS realizing that he was a bit tarnished and wasn't going to get to do what he really wanted anyway. So he then got the job to make this movie, and he hated it. And I really kind of don't blame him. After making Eyes of a Stranger, he was approached by Brian De Palma to make Body Double before De Palma decided to really kind of direct the movie himself. After making a completely different movie that ultimately was retitled Meatballs 2, he made Return of the Living Dead 2, which itself was also supposed to be an original movie and not at all connected to the original. He was able to get financing for it, but he had to make it a sequel. So he went and added a couple of guys from the original to add that connection that Wiederhorn ultimately said he shouldn't have been there in the first place. Now, it should be noted that even though I said he made Dark Tower, that's only partly true. Wiederhorn was the writer and an executive producer, but he claims he, quote, never set foot on the set of that movie. How he got listed as the director, it's hard to say, but I guess he knows his career better than I do.
It sounds like his movie career was full of a lot of regret.
Yeah, it does seem like that. I mean, his final film he directed was called A House in the Hills, and he called that the only good movie he ever made. And that movie starred Michael Madsen and Helen Slater. And I remember the VHS box at the video store, and I don't know if it actually had a theatrical release or not. Anyway, you know what my biggest problem with this movie is, Nurse?
Aside from everything? I don't know.
Well, this movie doesn't really feel like a full story. It seems like you have the fart contest, which is what all roads should be leading to, but that happens in Act 2, not the final act. But then we have to go on a date with a couple of girls at a Chinese restaurant so that Gross Out can show the new pledge how to pack away more drinks by barfing in the food in the kitchen. It's weird, man. And like, I liked how the act started with Gross Out learning the various foods that will help him power bigger farts. That's okay. We're traveling toward the ultimate goal of getting to the fart contest. But then it goes off the rails a bit and we're at the Chinese restaurant. It's like the fart contest wasn't enough to build the story around. We had to see other things, and none of the other things were nearly as interesting as what I'm here to see, which is the fart contest. And I'm not saying this thing had to have a cohesive story. Not all great movies do. Sometimes there are movies without any actual plot of any kind, but we have gags that don't really seem to go anywhere, like how they fuck with people as they drive around campus, or stealing the dead body from the funeral, or the puking in the Chinese food stuff. These are things that all individually have to have some sort of relatively quick punchline or payoff, and they just simply don't. You know what this is making me think of, Nurse?
Killing yourself?
No, but there is still about 30 minutes left to go in this movie to get me to that point. What I was getting at is this makes me feel like I'm at a party at somebody's house who I don't really know, and I'm sitting on the couch with a couple of other dudes that I don't know, and they're yucking it up over some old boners they had when they were in high school or college. They know their stories. They know what makes those stories funny, but I don't, and I'm left out in the cold here, and it's terribly frustrating.
As frustrating as Ken Wiederhorn's career?
Maybe more so. I like that the fart contest isn't composed of just a bunch of fat guys. We have a couple of sexy chicks in there too, and that's kind of funny, but the fart contest is a bit of a dud too. There's not really any variety out in the farts of the contest. Of course, Chief is there with his fart potion, but he leaves it behind the stage, and the dog drinks some of it and kind of rockets across the stage. And that's kind of funny, I guess, but God damn it, this movie is so bad, poorly edited, and the jokes are just so badly timed. The movie is, and I hate to say it,
Uh-oh.
making the farts not very funny.
Oh my god. I can't believe I'm hearing you say this.
I know, Gross Out even shits himself, and I can't be bothered to chuckle. I don't know what this movie is exactly. At least in Animal House, it was a scheme of some sort to help keep their house on campus and all that. While the deltas in that movie are just as goofy and immature as the Pie Caps in this movie, you could still like them. They did immature things, sure, but they were still kind of lovable. These fart knockers in King Frat are dumb, gross, dirty, and almost irredeemably unlikable. Thank God we only have one more act of this movie to go.
Well, that's a good way to look at it. Let's get back to the movie so we can get out of here. You're really angry at this movie, huh?
Yes, I am. And you know what really cooks my bacon? This committed the cardinal sin of making farts unfunny. And on top of that, it's a shit production. You've got editing issues, you've got boom mics visible all over the place, the jokes aren't funny. This movie is about 60 minutes too long and it's only 85 minutes to begin with. I'm really starting to get pretty pissed off about King Frat, goddammit.
It's going to be okay. No need to get upset.
Look, I don't expect Shakespeare. I know what types of movies I watch here. I know what the score is, but sometimes these get a little too stupid. It's like they didn't even try. They didn't even try to make a good movie. They just told jokes that almost had no punchline. They did things that didn't even make any kind of comical sense. The one guy is dressed like a gorilla. He peeps on girls from a sorority and he falls and gets hurt. The ambulance takes the guy and the girl that he was peeping on to the hospital. And on the way, the guy says he can't breathe. So the girl tries to remove his costume and she climbs up on top of him when the zipper gets stuck. And then he gets horny. The bumps and motion of the ride to the hospital starts the whole motion in the ocean for these two. And then he gets stuck inside her. They get stuck together and they can't come undone.
That happened, all right.
But what's the fucking joke? What makes that funny? It's such a shitty, immature, know nothing about sex kind of joke that it doesn't even make any sense. If you know someone who legitimately laughs at that scene, stop being his friend. And I say his because you know there are guys out there who think that shit is funny. I don't think a girl would. I get laughing at the unbelievable nature of the scene even existing in a movie, or just the disbelieving laughter because your brain is utterly broken by the stupidity of it all, but god damn it. Also, the black guy in the Pie Caps who cleans the floors at the Alpha house talks like a house slave. Is that a joke? Is that meant to be a joke? I mean, I get it if the guy is, fucking with the Alphas, but does it work if you don't know that he's smarter than they think he is? I mean, does it work if we don't actually see him treating him like a slave other than just being general jerks? So the real story in this movie is not the fart contest. It's about the Pie Cap stealing a stupid statue from the Alphas. Gross Out decides to fuck up the statue by smashing it. When he tosses the head of the statue through the Alpha house window, one of the Alphas steps in the broken glass, but they don't do anything about it. He mentions his foot is bleeding, but nothing more happens. You know what you're supposed to do? You pay that off by having him pass out or have the blood from his foot tipping people off to where he is in the ensuing fight between the frats. Jesus, I hate this movie.
Still, it could have been worse.
How so?
I don't know. I didn't have a second part to that idea.
Fair enough. This movie concludes with a courtroom scene. As if this movie wasn't packed full of bullshit already, we have this 5-minute scene with the judge just letting the Pie Caps off for no reason.
Then somehow Gross Out is the new dean of students?
Yeah, that wasn't funny. Nothing in this movie is funny. Apparently the school being on Kissawong territory makes it theirs, and all the pals of the racist portrayal of a Native American can run the school? I mean, see what I mean? That there's no payoff? Sure, Chief kept talking about how the town and the school and all of that was part of his tribal lands, but it doesn't really go anywhere. And it just kind of fizzles out. Kind of like this episode.
Want me to talk about the website and stuff?
Yes, please, just get it over with.
You can catch all of Jeff's stuff at www.bmovieenema.com. You can follow the site's social media pages at Facebook and Twitter by searching for B-Movie Enema. New articles are released every Friday morning, and you can subscribe to B-Movie Enema on YouTube so you can stay up to date with each of the episodes of B-Movie Enema, the series, as well as see clips from movies that Jeff uses in his articles. If you have a Roku, add the free channel OtherWorlds TV to your apps and check out all the obscure and forgotten films that play there each week. B-Movie Enema is part of a weekend lineup of movie hosts that play every weekend on OtherWorlds, so be sure to check out the others that share the airwaves with this show there.
Alright, well, thank you, Nurse. Well, I guess it's time to put a pin in this, and if there's one last thing that I can say about this movie, it's... oh, god damn it, I drew mud.